Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to my live. Stand by, let me grab my tea, and I'll be with you. Let's see how many people I can get in here. Hello, hello. I'm Factz from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a new horizon that I'm stepping into. So I like to talk or give a testimony on Tuesday. So in extension of my poetic rally on FB, I decided I'm going to launch the comfort couch. Okay, so today I will be talking about. Some people may have heard the story, some people may have not, but it's the short version of, I guess, why I'm single, why I'm the way I am. I'm not hard on men. Please put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I'm not hard on men. However, I'm more cautious with my heart, with my mind, with my spirit, and what I allow in my space. So I guess it's going to be more like a rant on my first time. I didn't take any notes. Like I said, I just got out of someone else's live. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for liking the live. Okay, so we are going to go back. Although it's not Throwback Thursday, it is Testimony Tuesday. So we will have to go back around when I was 17, 18, enjoying and liking life. And to be honest, I was more of a humble person, but life happened So that brought me to getting out of the box, which was I call it the Jack in the Box effect, because I had to come out and defend. I like to say it's two parts of us. So Bonquisha had to come out to protect Quisha, aka Factz. Okay, I'm from Atlanta, like I said. Been in Atlanta all my life, just different parts. My mom raised me part of my life. My grandmother raised me part of my life. It was more like a back and forth. I joined my siblings at one point in my life where I learned when life really got real, when I went into projects and found out what other people really went through, because I always had my grandmother there, and my aunties, my uncles, they was always supportive. However, life has always been, I would say, real for me. But my grandmother, that was my sanctuary and or my safety. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. That was my sanctuary, my safety. So we're going to skip all of that. I'm just telling you a little bit about me. I lived in projects called Boat Rock Townhomes. And I also lived off of Bankhead, North Avenue, Chapel Road, right? So there was some good on Bankhead / Chapel Road, and there was some not so good. However, when I lived there, you had people that were working class people, teachers, nurses. My grandmother, she was a janitor at an elementary school near English Avenue. In the summer, I went with her to clean desks or whatever it was they had her to do, clean windows or whatnot. So I'm telling you this because I know what it is to have, to not have, to work, and to relax. I'm called relax because like right now I'm relaxing. Unfortunately, I recently had a bad fall in my arm. I already have carpal tunnel in both my arms, and I'm telling you this is part of who I am. I worked at CNN as a lead housekeeper for 3 years and some change. When I lost my grandmother, I had already lost friend, other family members. My first nephew, whom I helped with, showed me how to be a mom more because I already knew, because I have twin brothers and we're 12 years apart. So I know what it was to change your diaper. And back in those days, I don't know if you can relate, but we had the actual diapers that you had to, if you didn't buy the Pampers, because there's a difference. We had diapers that you had to wash out and hang or put in a dryer. And I say wash out and hang because I also come from a time where at some point we did not have no washer, so I know what it was to survive, and I'm still surviving. I know what it is to survive. And I used to then agree with when people say everything I went through I appreciate it. I appreciate most of it, I'm going to say that. So anyway, just telling you a little bit about me and my life. So we're gonna go back to when I was 17, just a little bit about my life. So, we think about the white picket fence, and I always wanted to be a singer, a dancer. I know this is big, but we should think big of ourselves. We should all think big of ourselves. I wanted to be a lawyer. And one thing I knew was I wanted to be a mother. However, I never wanted to be a single parent. Okay, going back to 17. I was enjoying life. I felt like I was beautiful. I was a little different than some people in my mind. I didn't let just anyone step to me. Now, I will say I was in a way entertaining people I knew I was not going to date because I knew my mom had already told me. I knew what I had already been taught. And back in the day, your parents did more so talking at you and not to you. Well, that was my experience. So my mom said, if you get pregnant, she skipped all the cycle part and all that. We saw people, we saw ladies with their monthly, but she skipped all that. She took us to the doctor and said, if you're doing anything, then the doctor's going to tell me. The doctor told us it's allergy. I can't never say that name right, but you know what I mean. Confidentiality. I think I'm saying it right. I took speech classes, by the way, but I never let that type of stuff get in my way anymore. I was a premature baby. I never let that get in my way. But anywho, so I had people entertain me, but unfortunately, I avoided those wrong ones, even though, I liked how they sing, I liked how they looked, I liked how they danced. And I end up with the wrong one. He wooed me or whatever. I thought I was special, thought he was handsome, and he was a great dancer. I know him since second grade. The first red flag was I knew him through my family. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but let's just say his father bought me my first Power Wheel. Let's just say that, right? So, anywho, the most important thing here is that I'm testifying about is abusive relationship, and I'm kind of taking it fast because it's by no means is it fast. I was with this man, I want to say 17, probably, I'm just going to say I was with him for 10 years off and on. We're going to say 10 years off and on. 3 kids, 2 miscarriages. Well, the first red flag was when he called me out my name. So we're speaking signs. Somebody might need this. The first thing was he called me out of my name. I don't remember. I think I went through his phone. Yes, I shouldn't have went through his phone, but I went through his phone because he came to my house at like 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, where you been? Now, going back a little bit before that, once we met or whatever, we got to know each other real good because we already kind of knew about each other. Like I said, we was in second grade together. But anywho, I'm kind of speeding things up. And when I went through his phone or whatever, after he got in, laid down or whatever, I asked him a question. He didn't want to talk. So, okay, I went through his phone. There I found messages. And I'm like, this is why he here late or whatever. He decided to call me a name and tell me, don't go on my phone. I was like, okay. I waited a while. Okay, let him get some rest. Because we're going to talk about this. Because we was together almost every day. Once he came over my house, it was like inseparable. We was like together just about every day. Not really going anywhere. Mostly home bodies. We looked at movies together. He helped me with my sister kids. I have a twin. He helped me with her kids. She had 5. And I was like, okay, this person is a family man. I'm thinking it's good. Well, when I woke him up Again, he kind of woke up and he asked me a question. So I thought, okay, he woke. So a few minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm finna go and ask him. So I was like, where you been? And that started an argument. The next thing I know, this man went, and at this time, I'm living with my sister. I would go over his house, he would come over to my sister's house. He went in the kitchen, got a cup of water, and poured it on me when I laid down. I was laying down when he went in the kitchen. I thought maybe he's going to use the restroom. So that was the second red flag. The first one was him calling me out my name, the B word. The second was he poured a cup of water on me. I'm like, okay, cool. I never had no man to do this to me, but we can do this. I went into my sister's kitchen. Now, back then, I was humble, but I was more rowdy and about it. Mind you, I don't stay in projects. Now I'm in some like based on income apartments in Atlanta, Allen Temple to be exact. So I went in my sister's kitchen. I was like, he don't know who he dealing with. So after he poured the water on me, I went in the kitchen. I got a boiler, a small boiler. And when I tell you, I wasn't thinking we're going to be in a wet bed. I poured that whole boiler of water on him. Yes. However, me looking back then, I wasn't thinking, okay, he's not going to hit me because I'm in my sister's house. That's what I thought, right? So he didn't. He poured the water on me though, and he called me the B word. So that was the two red flags to let me know he could be a violent person. So we apologized to each other, whatever. We laughing because we in a wet bed. He don't pour water on me. I don't pour water on him. I'm 17. I'm thinking, oh, this is a little quarrel. It's nothing. I'm not gonna say it's cute because he called me the B word first. First, I was a female dog. Then I had water poured on me. So anyway, the next time, it wasn't even a reason. I think he was kind of mad at life or something. And I'm getting ready to go to this little job and everything. I had class that night. And he did again. He called me out my name, and I'm like, I'm ignoring him because I'm about to go handle my business. I had my hair braided pretty. I had some long braids. I don't know if you remember Coochie, but I got a little Coochie outfit on. I got from a little sister. They thin. I'm a nice size back then. So I'm looking good. I know that. He didn't have to tell me that. I could see it in his eyes. So he picked a fight with me. Later on that day, he let me go on out there because he want me to make my money, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't really have no real change. I found out later on. I had to damn near push him to go to work. So anyway, I came back home whatever evening, whether or not I'm selling whatever, getting settled. By this time, I don't have his baby and everything. Like I said, I'm speeding things up. Mind you, the other stuff went on when I was having my baby or whatever. So he came in the house. He picked another fight with me. The next thing I know, this man pulled me by my shirt and tore my shirt open. Hey, how you doing? So the reason I'm telling this story is to let you know, no matter how much you care about a person and you want that white picket fence and your children, do not stay with an abusive man. If he passive aggressive, because passive aggressive is, he told me, don't nobody want you because you got children. He said I didn't have anything to bring to the table. He'll do passive aggressive things like that. But I found out that he was mentally abusive and physically abusive. But I just wanted what I wanted. I wanted the family. So I do take accountability for my part in it. I wanted the family, so I stayed. And another baby came, and I lost the baby, and he blamed me for that. Then he practically begged me to have another baby 2 years later. I had that baby for him. He was always in and out of work. I thought, have his back, queen, have his back. And I would say, I don't know why, But I do. This is what I saw. I saw ladies have their man backs no matter what. They was like, we're a team. We're a team. And they had their man's back. I didn't have a father to show me how a man's supposed to treat me. Um, None of that. Now, my father was around. In fact, he stayed around the corner from my grandmother. I would go by there and see him on Fridays when he get paid. He may give us a little change. I found out later on he was paying child support here and there. I didn't know till I opened the mailbox. And my sister, my twin, and we saw a check. My mom had never told us. So he was around. His mother, she took us to church sometime, but he never really talked. My father was not a talker. The most he talked was before he left here, he had a talk with me. So anyway, I'm taking my accountability, but I'm just letting you know that these are the things and the reasons I made the choices and decisions I made. I felt like my kid's father was a friend. I had no friends, for real. I had nobody that I felt like I could really talk to that gets me, because I did have people in my family, but I also had people that insulted me, and I didn't even pay any attention to take heed to it till I got older. But I knew I was a little different than others. I catch on at a slower pace than others. And I guess the first time I knew this when I was in school, and I could read, but I couldn't read like fluently. I'm going to say it like that. So I was in a class and the teacher would ask you to read out loud, and I wasn't able to read some words. So they put me in this little thing called chapter 1. That's when I realized that I had a developmental delay or whatnot. So anywho, going back to the abusive relationship, it got worse. He didn't care if I was expecting. There were times when he put his hands on me while I was expecting. He poured a beer on me. And I'm trying to get away from him, not thinking that I'm putting myself and my baby in danger. I'm running down steps, and he poured a beer on me, and he knocked my phone out my hand, so I went and called the police. Years later, I don't know why I kept going back. I didn't tell my family about it. No one really knew at first what was going on. People around might know, mostly his people that was around, his friends. And maybe his father may have known. And so another thing I find that these things that happen, usually it is not the beginning of them. It's a learned behavior, right? So he saw his mother abused by his father. And I believe in his mind, he thought, if I put my hands on her, then she'll do whatever I want her to do. So I found out that what he wanted me to do was be quiet, cook, clean, raise the children while he go outside with his boys, wherever he go and enjoy life. Now, he would bring me whatever I wanted or needed. Well, I'm not going to say wanted, not nothing exquisite or anything like that, but like a drink or something like that, something to eat. Also, I was productive. I was working and everything. I've been a child care teacher. It's like once he found out I'm doing good, he would try to do anything to bring me down. And me being naive, I was like, well, fight for my family, yada, yada. Anyway, long story short, what ended up happening was I put him out several times, and I would let him back in. That last time, thank you for the likes. When I had that last baby, that's when I know it wasn't going to work. I had this one friend, she would come over and see me. We would sit on the porch. We took early childhood development class together. Shout out to C Smooth. It's his kid's mother. The song can't stop no player. Anyway, so we became good friends. She would cook, I would cook. I would give her my collard greens. She loved my collard greens. She would give me her dressing. I love her dressing. And she had children. And so my son would play with her children. My sons. When my last son came, I was working. I It had really got bad. My lights had got disconnected. His father owned the shop, but he would barely go to work. Like, I think his father got tired of it. He would get some money, and like for maybe 5, 6 days, he wouldn't go back to work after he worked at the shop, and his father gave him the money that he worked for. For like 5, 6 days, he wouldn't go back to work, and it just became annoying. So anyway, he and I allowed my lights to get disconnected. I kept doing what I could do to keep them on, but they ultimately got disconnected. So instead of him being a man and trying to help, because I had told his father about it, his father was willing to give some money, but not enough. So another friend of mine, associate, she used to come over there on the weekend sometime, and I helped her out sometime because she was going through a little thing with her daughter. So she told me, you can come down to my house to stay. Mind you, I haven't even went for my checkup. I had to go find a job quick. So I went to the warehouse. I went to the temporary service, went to a warehouse and got this job packing pool treatment. So one day, my friend, she was like, come down here. You don't have to be in the dark. Come down to my house. So I got my babies. I got my little baby. And like I said, he wasn't a good month because I hadn't even went for my checkup, but I had to find a job because I didn't want my children in the dark. That's when I really knew it was rock bottom, because why the heck is my children in the dark? Like, this is not love. That's when I really saw it for what it was. Like, he was using me, being a crutch. He was being a crutch, you know what I'm saying? So I went down there, and this was the last time. Like I said, I made this story short as I could. I'm over to a friend's house. I'm going to work. I don't left him there or whatnot. Went to my friend's house, and then I'll come back home sometimes. He got to one point, he would threaten me or whatnot. So I was like, whatever. You always threaten folks or whatever. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm going to work, and I'm going to, go down my friend's house. My children not gonna be in the dark. So one day, me and my babies are laying down. One of them, the baby, he's crying or whatever, so I'm getting his bottle or whatever. I heard a knock on the door, so I heard him say something about, I'm going to call your mom and tell her what's going on. And I was like, I'm like ignoring him because I haven't called my parent. I haven't let her know anything's going on. I ain't let her know no lights was on. I ain't let her know that he don't put his hands on me or any of this. And I think a lot of us, I'm not going to say a lot of us, some of us do that because we're embarrassed. We don't want to admit we failed. And we really don't want to ask for help. I think that's most of what I want. I didn't want to ask for my mom's help. Although I know she would, and she did, but I didn't want to ask for it. So I had one thing I left out. I did smarten up, wisen up. I went and got a restraining order, right? So when I got the restraining order, that helped a lot later on, not this time, because this man don't care. So this man came through the window. He had an umbrella in his hand. I don't know what kind of narcotics he was on, but this man came through the window. And I called one of the young ladies, because it was two ladies. One of them was a sister, whom house I was down. She got my baby, and he just went. They didn't help, They just, whatever. I don't even know what they was doing, because I was too busy trying to defend myself. So he was pulling at me or whatever. I tried to go up the steps. Well, that's what happened. I just remember. I had to run up the steps because they didn't even come to the door. I had to run up the steps and give them my baby because my baby wasn't even a good 4 weeks, right? So one of them took my baby, whatever. They was talking stuff, whatever, but then nobody never helped me or whatever. So we fighting. I fell down the steps, the whole steps while we fighting. He pulled me by my hair because my hair had don't got so pretty and everything. My mom used to do it for me, whatever, and I was going to church on Sundays. So he had already been jealous of that. This is why I knew something was mentally wrong with him. He told me that I was going to church to talk to the pastor. Wow. Anyway, so he pulled me down the steps. The police came. My hair, I had like hands full of hair on the floor from where he pulled my hair. I had scratches all in my face. I had a knot on my head. What I did to him, I don't know, because he ran out that door so quick. I don't even know which way he went. But he ran out that door. He was gone by the time that police got there. But like I said, I did do a restraining order. Months later, I got my joy back. I did go back to that job. My sister came to my house. She was there with me for a while. He called the housing authority and told the housing authority that my family was living with me. He called and told Metro PCS that I would like my phone disconnected. He got up on a pole and turned my lights out. And I'm like, wow. How could one individual have this much energy and this much hate in them? It took me years to be able to talk about this and to be able to talk back to him, because after all, we have 3 sons together. In the midst of all this man never really wanted to take care of his children. And he told me that one day. He said, if I'm not with you, I'm not going to take care of no children. So now my kids are grown. He talks to them sometimes. But when it comes to all the time they was growing up, like, he had nothing for them. He went to jail one time. He got them some when he got out. Other than that, the man like him never been there for my children. But he did make it to my son's graduation. And to tell the truth, I don't even know what's the point, but I decided that I was going to let my children have their own relationship with him. Of course, I know I didn't really have too much good to say, but I did find good to say about him. He did cook. He did clean. He was good with children at some point before he decided that he would always have a reason to discipline children. And I really don't know why, but I left out a lot. There were so many times he put his hands on me. I forgot some of the times that he put his hands on me. And let me not leave this part out. I can't say for sure, but I also heard that he laid down with one of my cousins. And he also got with someone else in my family. Now, on that part, I'm sure of. But because of this man, I learned a lot. I would not let no man put his hands on me. And I also learned that him, along with a lot of more guys, is the reason why I don't have, I don't know, I guess a lot of hope and faith and believe in love. Yeah, because of him and so many other guys, my hope in a man, my faith, my belief, it's just not there anymore. And don't get me wrong, I love all men. I've met men after him, and it's been quite an experience as well. But I have not had nobody that wanted to beat on me every day and allowed to beat on me every day. And you know, I have family. I have sons. So I would never give up on man. I still have our men's back. However, if you're failing me, you got to go. And that relationship helped me learn how to really love myself. And I know now that loving yourself is the greatest love of all. Thank you all for listening. My favorite time of day. My favorite time of day is like between 5 o'clock and I would say like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I get up, I say a prayer or listen to a prayer on YouTube. I go outside, I have my tea or coffee, and I just listen to nature because nature have definitely been a healing mechanism for me. I like to listen at the birds chirp. I like to listen to just the sounds that are like melancholy. I love to I love when a cardinal comes to visit me. I don't know if it's true, but it makes me feel like my family is coming to visit me. But I was saying that relationship, I would never be the same because of that relationship. That man, he had another child on me. He brought me home a STD. And like to this day, he never hold himself accountable. I mean, he really think everything is good. But my testimony, my real testimony part of it is I did obtain favor in God. I'm still standing. I have a roof over my head and the things that I need. I'm at peace. I have a person that I talk to that I call a friend, but say however, they're more of a associate because I trust no one. I trust no one now. I believe in people, a few, but I trust no one. But God is my best friend. My grandmother, she's gone. That was my best friend. And when you sit outside in peace and nature, you just talk to God. And I like coming on here. This is an outlet for me too. I go on my FB page, Poetic Ureli. I used to be on TikTok, and that's when I really discovered that I can still write poetry. My poetry have been my healing. And if you want to hear any of my poetry, please look to my content. Before I leave here, I'm going to say one of my poems. But I want to, again, thank you for everyone that pulled up. I appreciate it. This was more of a freestyle. I didn't write any notes or anything like that. But I am working on my consistency, so I want to show up for myself. You see, some of us complain about people not loving us right or loving us enough, but we have to, in fact, love on ourselves. Another thing I like is music. Music for me is healing. I love karaoke. Sometimes I call a note, sometimes I can't, but I do like karaoke. I'm not going to be long. This pain, my arm and my back is really trying to take a hold of me right now. While I'm grabbing my folder to say one of my poems, I just want to say, Nolan Wells' Life Matter and Justice for Kendrick Johnson. Stop playing in our face. People are not just drowning. People are not lynching themselves on a tree. Not all people. Not all. Let your smile be your umbrella. I will weep for the little girl. Who will weep for the little girl? A good girl she inspired to be. Who will fight for the girl? Took advantage of times three. The girl crying to come out of me. Young lady whom I see in my dreams. Who is this schoolgirl? Whom love to learn, read, dance, cook, teach, and clean. Daughter, sister, student, beauty, brain, and frame. I almost calls her name. She was intelligent, outstanding, chaste, and discreet. So different, diverse, or unique was she. There are ladies who never got to truly be a girl. For you, I weep. You can still wear your crown. The fight for her is daily. Girl in the mirror with negative thoughts and silent screams. I see you now. Forgive yourself, exoneration. No hesitation, believe in yourself like a rhythm nation. I will weep for the little girl. I'm going to recite this poem again. I was distracted. I will weep for the little girl. Who will weep for the little girl? A good girl she inspired to be. Who will fight for the girl? Took advantage of times three. The girl crying to come out of me. Young lady whom I see in my dreams. Who is this schoolgirl who loved to learn, read, dance, cook, teach, and clean? Daughter, sister, student, beauty and brain and frame. I almost calls her name. She was intelligent, upstanding, chaste, and discreet. So different, diverse, or unique was she. There are ladies who never got to truly be a girl. For you, I weep. You can still wear your crown, my queen. The fight for her is daily. Girl in the mirror with negative thoughts and silent screams. I see you now. Forgive yourself. Exoneration. No hesitation. Believe in yourself like a rhythm nation. I will weep for the little girl. I will weep for the little girl. Poem. Thank you for your time. That's my time.